Jamal Parker was only 23 years old, but his eyes carried the weight of a man twice his age. The streets of Detroit had taught him early that dreams weren't tea for kids like him. They were luxuries, fragile like glass, easy to shatter. He had grown up in a one-bedroom apartment with his mother, Denise, who worked 2 jobs, one at a diner during the day and another cleaning offices at night. Jamal rarely saw her except when she dragged herself through the door at dawn, smelling faintly of bleach, her uniform still clinging to her tired frame. Despite her efforts, the bills always piled up faster than the money came in. Their rent was overdue again. Jamal's little sister, Nia, only 11, needed new shoes for school, but there wasn't even enough food in the fridge for the week. Worse yet, Jamal himself had just been laid off from the auto plant where he worked. A machine had malfunctioned, leaving him with an injury on his hand. Instead of giving him time to heal, the company had let him go. It felt like the world was closing in, crushing him from every direction. That was when he made the decision, one that even he thought was crazy, to go to the one man in Detroit who had more money than anyone could imagine. Elliot Graves was a name that carried weight in every business circle in America. A billionaire investor, he owned skyscrapers, tech startups, and sports teams. To some, he was a ruthless businessman. To others, a visionary. But to the people of Detroit, Elliot was something else. He had grown up here too, though, on the opposite side of town. While Jamal had shared a mattress with his little sister, Elliot had slept in silk sheets in a mansion overlooking the river. His family's money stretched back generations, and by the time Elliot was born, his life had already been written in gold. Yet Elliot wasn't heartless. For years, he had given 2 charities, sponsored scholarships, and built housing projects. The media praised him for his philanthropy, though many whispered that he only did it for tax benefits. Still, Jamal knew one thing. If there was anyone who could help, it was Elliot Graves. The billionaire was scheduled to attend a community event downtown, a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new youth center that his foundation had funded. Security would be tight, but Jamal didn't care. This was his shot. The morning of the event, Jamal woke up early. He looked in the mirror at his worn-out hoodie and torn sneakers. He thought of his mom and Nia. Then he took a deep breath and told himself premedito try. When Elliot arrived at the event, cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions, and politicians crowded around him. Jamal waited on the edge of the crowd, his heart pounding. Then, as Elliot stepped away for a moment, Jamal rushed forward. "Mr. Graves, please, I need your help." The security guards reacted instantly, grabbing Jamal by the arms. But Elliot raised his hand. "Let him speak," the billionaire said calmly. The crowd fell silent. The cameras turned. For the first time in his life, Jamal had everyone's attention. Jamal's voice shook as he spoke. "My name's Jamal Parker. I lost my job at the auto plant last month. My mom's sick. My little sister, she needs food, school supplies, everything. We're about to get evicted. I don't know where else to turn." He paused, his throat tightening. "Please, sir, I'm not asking for charity. I just need a chance. A job. Anything." The crowd murmured. Reporters leaned closer, eager for Elliot's response. The billionaire studied Jamal quietly. There was something raw and unpolished about the young man, something the cameras couldn't filter out. Finally, Elliot spoke. His voice was steady, but his words pierced like knives. "Son, I can't help you." The words echoed in Jamal's chest like thunder. He felt the ground drop beneath his feet. Jamal's eyes widened. "What do you mean? You, a billionaire. You could write a check right now, hand it to Woolden Tea. Even matter to you," Elliot sighed. "And if I wrote that check, what happens next month? Or the month after? You'd be right back here, asking for help again. But life isn't about handouts, Jamal. It's about opportunities. And the truth is," Elliot hesitated, his gaze softening, "the system isn't built for you. Kids like you, black kids, from neighborhoods like yours, you're not meant to win. That's the ugly truth no one will say on camera." The crowd gasped. Reporters scribbled furiously. Some booed, others cheered. Jamal felt his chest tighten. He wanted to scream. He wanted to fight, but all he could do was whisper. "So you're saying there's no hope?" Elliot looked at him for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he said quietly, "There's hope, but it won't come from me handing you money. It'll come from you deciding that no matter what this world throws at you, I rise. That's a fight only you can win." And with that, Elliot turned away. Jamala walked home that evening in silence. His mother tried to console him, but the words still burned in his mind. "You're not meant to win." At first, anger consumed him. How could Elliot stand there, with his tailored suit and polished shoes, and tell him that? But then, slowly, something shifted. Elliot had rejected him, yes, but he had also given him something more dangerous than money. The truth. If Jamal wanted to change his life, he couldn't wait for a billionaire to save him. He had to save himself. Jamal began to hustle not in the way the streets demanded, but in the way his future required. He started by fixing old cars in his neighborhood, using the mechanical skills he'd picked up at the auto plant. Word spread quickly. Soon, neighbors were bringing their broken-down vehicles to him, paying whatever they could. At night, he studied. Free online courses, YouTube tutorials, business books borrowed from the library. He didn't sleep much, but every hour of work lit a new fire inside him. Nia became his motivation. Every time she smiled, Jamal reminded himself why he couldn't give up. Months turned into a year. His little repair hustle grew into a full garage. He hired 2 of his friends, giving them a way out of the streets. Slowly but surely, Jamal was building something of his own. 2 years later, Jamal found himself standing in the lobby of a skyscraper downtown. He wore a clean suit, not expensive, but his own. He was there for a meeting with investors who were considering funding his expanding auto business. And there, across the room, was Elliot Graves. Their eyes met. Elliot raised an eyebrow in surprise. "Jamal Parker," he said with a faint smile. "Looks like you found your way." Jamal stood tall. "I did. And you were wrong, Mr. Graves. I was meant to win." Elliot studied him for a long moment before nodding. "Then, prove me wrong again. Keep going." For the first time, Jamal realized Elliot's words back then hadn't been rejection. They had been a challenge, and Jamal had risen to it.